Hello, everyone. I'm Ben Thakur, CEO of Hi-Fi and eTeam. Welcome to Hi-Fi and eTeam's first ever Talent Spotlight series. In this series, we will spend 30 minutes with the talent industry's most important executives, thought leaders, and influencers. We'll discuss some of the critical topics and issues addressing the world of work and the future of work. Our goal in this series is to address real challenges within our industry and bring forth practical and actionable insights that help employers, employees, and talent providers alike. Today, I'm joined by Amy Doyle. Amy is not only a friend, business partner, and highly influential industry leader, she's also Senior Vice President of Manpower Talent Solutions and TAPFIN Global Brand Leader. Amy, welcome to the show, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Ben. It's great to see you. Always love to have a conversation.
Our first and second segment, we focused on defining corporate sustainability and understanding D&I's role and impact on corporate sustainability. We also discussed readiness and preparing your diversity, equity, and inclusion strategy. Today, in our final segment, we will spend some time talking about tactics and creating real outcomes in your diversity, equity, and inclusion strategy. The research is very clear on the link between diverse workplaces and especially diversity in leadership to productivity, innovation, profit. Even so, the people responsible for advancing D&I, they have very limited resources and competing responsibilities. What can be done to help make the case internally and drive more resources where they are needed?
So, I think while many of us, you and I in particular, are very passionate about this subject, we really shouldn't approach this any different than any investment or business initiative that we would have, or any people initiative that you would drive in your organization. And so I think data is king, and building a strong business case as to why this is important to the business is really critical. Really quantifying that and driving that forward. I mean, McKinsey back, 3 years ago, put out some research that showed that companies that had strong diversity and inclusion programs were 33% more likely to be industry leading in profitability of their business. So there is data and information out there in the market that can help build the case as to what the value and the ROI is to the business. And you really need to bring that ROI to life, right? Yeah. So not only what are your percentages, as we've talked about, but what is the engagement of your organization? And what does a 2-point increase in engagement of your employees deliver to the business from a profitability standpoint? So I think using partners like eTeam or ourselves as companies to find out what is the information out there in the market, but really bring the passion along with a really solid business case to show the ROI to the company. Make sure you get the data out there, use your internal data intentionally and with purpose, and continue to report out on it, continue to track it, and show results of the business and bring that ROI to life.
Amy, recent studies, they have shown that diversity training often fails to achieve its intended outcomes. It might educate, but it doesn't always change behavior. What do you think organizations can do to reinforce and ensure people use these skills in their businesses?
Our chief people officer and I had a conversation around this. Most CHROs have just shunned traditional diversity training because it tends to be something that doesn't produce results. Now, I think that there's some dynamics in there that may, as we just talked about, right, ensuring that you've got that business case, that ROI, and then you have that tracking mechanism to show the results. And I do think training is important, but I think experiences are equally important. So the more that you can utilize training that taps into your own personal experiences and creates relation between your own personal experiences and some of the challenges for candidates within your organization or employees within your organization is really important. But then you've also got to be using other tools. We have partners that help us bring how do you address microaggressions, right? It's great to go through a training, but 2 weeks later, that saying that you have said since you were 5 years old and learned at home is totally offensive today. And unless you have someone helping you identify your microaggressions in your comments or your sayings or whatever you're doing, and really driving to better results and really transitioning to micro progressions is what we're focused on. So it's not just about training, it's about training, but also providing the tools that can help your employees when they're writing an email, when they're responding to a text, when they're having a conversation. And accountability is important. We have accountability partners within our organization. So we are aligned to accountability partners to help us ensure that we are not just talking the talk, but also walking the talk as well. So I don't think training is something that should be thrown away. I do think you need to bring experience into it, but then you need to find other tools and ways to keep that momentum going. And then again, measuring the culture, measuring everything about it.
Amy, have you seen any trends in technology and in talent which can make DE&I more actionable within organizations?
Absolutely. There's a tremendous amount of technology out there, but there's challenge with that as well, right? A lot of this technology is just bringing data and measurements to you without the tools with what to do that. So I always really warn companies to be very careful about, I'm going to use this, they're going to give me all this great visibility, and you're actually creating a lot of risk for your organization. The other piece is that there's tremendous bias in artificial intelligence. And you have to be really careful and really look into these tools that can help with driving the solutions to ensure that their AI has been designed to remove the bias. But as with everything else, human beings develop that AI and bring their biases and their experiences to it. And particularly when you're using long-term data to feed the decisions that you're making, that may not be designed to drive the results that you're looking for in the future. So there's a lot of great tools out there. They are coming very quickly to the market. Make sure that you are talking to who is already using them, really understanding how their AI is developed and what results they're going to put. But again, just like everything else we've talked about, putting in technology and walking away and checking the box is not going to produce the results. It's got to be a multi-pronged approach, utilizing technology that you've fully vetted and know that's going to be right, looking at the cultural and looking at, most importantly, that experience and creating community within your organization.
Absolutely. Now, we have seen many companies, they focus their D&I efforts on their permanent workforces. What action should be taken to promote D&I across entire workforces, contingent, contract, gig workers?
I mean, we talked about this a lot. The strategies must be aligned. You cannot have separate strategies. I understand people are concerned about potential co-employment risk by bringing the strategies together. You've just got to be thoughtful and purposeful about it, or utilize your full-time strategies in a different way that does not create co-employment risk for you, but is not creating a whole separate program. And I think a big piece too is live and breathe your culture. Focus your culture on the results that you want, and make sure that when you're interviewing contingent workers, when you're bringing contingent workers into the organization, that they really fit the culture. Ultimately, I think the success of DE&I is not going to be in the it's not going to be in measurements and that. It's going to be in the experience. And so, really focusing on how those contingent resources can enhance the experience of your workforce and make them want to become a microphone for your organization to say, that's a great place to work, that's a great place to be on assignment, is really important.
Well, thank you so much. This was a very impressive session. I want to really thank you for setting aside the time for us to discuss such an important topic. It's been very insightful for all of us. With this, we end our 3-part series on diversity, equity, and inclusion. If you're watching and if you like it, please don't forget to comment, share, and repost this video. Thank you, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, Ben.
Thank you.